The Luciferian Agenda for Total Control. Step 1. Create time and space through thought. Step 2. Create within this time and space scenario a crystal receiving mechanism, a 5-sense-oriented device called the mind, that is able to receive communication from the egregore. Step 3. Indoctrinate this mind with reason, logic and rational consideration abilities, with total rejection of all other concepts that are not based on reason, logic, or rational consideration. Step 4. The indoctrination program consists of basing everything on time and space. If any of the indoctrination principles do not include an obvious connection of time and space, then logic will dictate that it isn't real. In other words, if events don't occur in a simultaneous time frame, or within a close and common geographical space, then the indoctrination principles will simply reject any connection. The mind will be conditioned to reject everything entirely based on other preconditions set down within the indoctrination program. Step 5. The indoctrination program must create a scenario where there is a total conviction to a belief system. A belief system is a segment of the indoctrination program whereby the doctrinal beliefs of that system creates limited view or tunnel vision of the already deceptive 3D reality of time and space. In other words, a tunnel vision or a narrow perspective is all that is allowed to view a portion of something that is already a lie. All that's allowed is just a glimpse at a deception. With this indoctrination, the Luciferian mindset can appear as the secret, or sacred, mystery of the ages. Step 6. Implant the suggestion that every belief system will be deemed correct by its own adherents. Instill the belief within each of these systems that everything within the three-dimensional space has within it the Godhead or source, because everything is formed of this thought source, which are the electrons, protons and neutrons, the very essence of the egregore thought process. Step 7. Through the use and manipulation of the illusion of time and space, the origin and goal of the Luciferian agenda will be implanted within society at the outset, as the attempt at total control of the paradise state is undertaken. This will include the belief in a divine supreme being that will act as a frontman or smokescreen for the egregore thinkers. Even as the belief system is implanted within the illusory societies within the time and space illusory world, it would also be suggested that abuse of the environment and the three-dimensional world will be of benefit to the most powerful, daring and uncaring. Step 8. As the illusion of time and space progresses, and as the three-dimensional illusion expands, the same belief system would be incorporated into the new time and space societies and locations. Only the names, rituals and symbols will be slightly altered, but the principles of the belief system would remain identical, one to the other. As example here, the belief systems moved from Babylon to Egypt, to Israel/Palestine/Phoenicia, to Greece, to Rome and to the British Isles, always with some form of connected time and connected space aspects. This process of conjuring up seemingly diverse belief systems will create confusion and enmity among the illusory thought-form beings collectively known as humanity. At the same time, these seemingly diverse belief systems would still maintain the principles of the Luciferian agenda, with the ability to manipulate the masses in a synchronized fashion, one with another, through suggestions established on the concepts of time and space. In this manner they will create a massive distraction from the original state of freedom and liberty. Step 9. These indoctrination programs will be established within the elite people of the elite nations, with highly indoctrinated time and space intellectual and religious systems. The most dedicated adherents to these systems will be rewarded to a greater degree financially than those of lesser indoctrination. This will automatically create a class system and manipulate the population into striving to belong to a higher class for higher financial reward. In so doing, this will establish a religious ritual of fervently desiring to become indoctrinated as much as possible in time and space concepts so as to move to a higher class, and to be more closely connected to the divine aspects of the illusory space. In other words, this would financially reward devotees who dedicate themselves to Luciferian principles. Step 10. Establish exactly the same belief systems yet again, but this time in locations and societies with the appearance of a huge separation of space and time. As example here, the New World was separated by the continental drift, however the Old World Luciferian principles of time and space were not separated. Apply yet again the very same principles of the electrons, protons and neutrons, which create the illusion of time and space, and still maintain the ability to receive the subliminal suggestions of the Luciferian thinkers with only the names, words and symbols altered just slightly to avoid being detected as the same belief system. Step 11. Maintain these space-separated and time-separated societies at a simpler primitive level, for what will appear to be thousands of years. These primitive societies will only appear to be primitive, and only appear to be in close communion with the divine supreme creator, which in reality is the Luciferian egregore. These primitive societies will ultimately be used as yet another deception tool to instill confusion as the Luciferian agenda creates the appearance of unfolding. Step 12. These space and time-separated primitive societies will adhere fervently to the original indoctrination of time and space concepts, which are the original concepts of the Luciferian egregore. They will hold faithfully to the worship of the divine supreme Father God, the Great Spirit concept, which in turn holds the three-dimensional physical space as the absolute Godhead and source of all things and worthy of worship. These primitive societies will hold to the concept that every creature within the 3D space is worthy of worship, as all things conjured up in this 3D creation are of the electron, proton and neutron. Proton, electron, neutron equals pen plus T equals bent equals 5 senses equals sacrifice. Furthermore, these primitive societies will become the pattern after which the physical 3D environment, which includes the earth, the water, and the air, will dominate the consciousness of the illusory body of humanity as the Luciferian agenda unfolds. This conscious environmental worship will not be approached as a religious and spiritual awakening, but as a necessity. It will be established that it will be required to be done to save the complete illusory body of humanity. This will be implemented through government agencies, whom humanity will have been indoctrinated for hundreds of illusory years, that governments are separate from religion. This, in spite of the fact that the governments carry out their rituals in temples, the high officials are called ministers, and invoke God to bless the population in the very same manner that any religious body would do. This lays out a bit of what the Luciferian agenda looks like. What will follow on this page is a closer examination of steps 10, 11 and 12. Steps 1 through to 9 basically deal with establishing the illusory old world, with the old ideals of worshipping time and space, and abusing the hell out of it for reasons that will become apparent as you read on. Steps 10, 11 and 12 will deal with establishing the illusory new world and how this was meant to be used to manipulate control of the paradise state, which is who we really are, into the prison of the Luciferian egregore thought process. Consider the chart immediately below, courtesy of Google Images, with additions made in red. This chart shows how and when the Luciferian mindset, through the Kabbalistic principle of intense thought form, went about creating the 11 Western states in the shape and form that is virtually the same as the foundation rock under the dome of the rock. Scientific evolutionary dating is in black. Illusory time dating is in red. This chart shows how the new world was conjured into its current position, held in store with all the principles of the Luciferian egregore fully entrenched within the native people of the new world. These people would continue for thousands of illusory years with the belief in time and space, belief in the Great Spirit, belief in the Father God worshipped in the vastness of nature, which is belief in the Luciferian egregore thought process. The air, the earth, and the water were deified, and the creatures and the creation were worshipped in adoration of the Father God, the light bringer, the Luciferian thought form. This was the original environmental green movement held in store, just waiting for the Luciferian agenda to process the final illusory images within the 3D experience. Once again, the 5-globe chart shows the pliability of the molten ball of lava called Earth. After 6,000 years of illusory existence, it is still a ball of molten rock, totally capable of reformation to any degree without revealing the identity of the Luciferian egregore, or without revealing the hypnotic system of manipulation that would cause that reformation. One New World native belief was in the god called the Great Manitou, who made a great raft, the size of a world-sized island. This is the Western Hemisphere of North, South and Central America, that floated away from the Old World to become the New World. The Great Manitou is the inspiration behind the province of Manitoba, Canada, situated in the center of the North American continent, on the relief, or exposed portion of the Canadian Shield Rock. Therefore, the name of Manitoba is the name of the Father God. This would correlate to Cronus, Jehovah, El, Yahweh, Allah, etc. Taking this relationship one step further, Manitoba, the Rocky Mountains, Manhattan, and Mount Moriah in Jerusalem, are all connected with the MNT acronym, which symbolizes the word, concept and shape of mountain. This is the pyramid shape of the Luciferian deity god and is evident yet again, in the name Montana, or Mount Anana, the Queen of Heaven, who sits in symbolic judgment in the 11 Western states, waiting and ready to pass judgment.